And here is the video review for the ThreeZero Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime DLX Deluxe action figure. It's very large, it's very cool. It was very surprising when it showed up on my doorstep. I had four things Transformer related that I picked up this week. One was the Megatron model kit from Flame Toys, which I'm not sure what order these are all going up in, so if you haven't seen it yet, it's coming soon. This one, and then the Make Toys Endgame, their Dirge showed up. The cage for Ocular Max's remix cassettes for Jaguar from episode 3, where they had Ravage in a cage, showed up. And then this guy. Of those last three, the Megatron model kit I picked up at Barnes & Noble. Everything else just kind of showed up on my porch one day. They all showed up on Thursday. Not Thursday, no, they all showed up on Wednesday. Anyway, all these packages showed up and I had no idea what any of them were, and they were all pretty decent. This guy, of course, is the most amazing of the bunch. I was not expecting this, and it showed up, and looks like a lot of people got it. But this is a fantastic figure. It's a very nice rendition of Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie. Don't worry, we're going to get in and talk about all this stuff. Now, I don't have the Bumblebee anymore. The Bumblebee sample showed up and was sent on to other reviewers. Same with the Blitzwing model kit. This one I'm not sure about it, because it seems like everybody that I would send this along to also got a copy of it, and if that's the case, outstanding. I did say it's from ThreeZero. Now, ThreeZero and 3A used to work together. 3A has announced that they are moving on into a new direction, and ThreeZero is going to be the one handling all of their licensing deals and stuff. I think they're separating as companies. I don't know all the details on that, but 3A and ThreeZero are splitting, but still staying around. I think, like I said, 3A is going just in a different direction. But anyway, ThreeZero Optimus Prime Deluxe figure, and it is fantastic. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you, I don't know how well it's going to show up with the bright backlights on it, but his eyes do light up. It's the only battery-powered feature it's inside his helmet. His eyes do light up, and you turn them on by just pressing not just the whole outside, but the actual inside of his little forehead crest, and his eyes light up blue. I'm not sure how well that's showing up, and then, of course, his face is right behind the timer on my phone, but his eyes, looks like they are showing up a little bit, if not super adequately. You are seeing some blue there, some blue glow there. So yeah, so his eyes light up, and just give him a little bit of life. Outside of that, he's mostly posable. So here he is with his rifle, or his ion can, his gun. Here, I'm just going to do a quick turnaround here just to show you all the detail. And we'll get into, don't worry, we'll get down to his feet, we'll get into some of the poses. But just to give you an idea of how fantastic it looks, this is how I've had him displayed on the table here. So we'll bring his arms down, we'll go ahead and take his rifle out of his hand. His hands are stiff but pliable, rubbery plastic. But not in the way that you would have an issue with on a Voyager toy. They feel quality, but they are a little pliable and stuff. And then here is the main robot by himself. Now, one of the things that's a little bit of a drawback, because I feel like Bumblebee had posable fingers, and I'm sure part of it is just because Bumblebee's hands are a little jointed a little differently, with bigger, thicker fingers and fewer of them than Optimus Prime. But Optimus Prime, versus having posable hands, comes with sets of interchangeable hands. He comes packaged with two closed fists. We're going to show some of these off, but two closed fists he comes packaged with. He comes with a rifle holding hand, actually for either side. Like that. He comes with this relaxed posed hand with a couple of curled fingers that I was using to kind of hold the front end of the rifle for both sides. He comes with two splayed open hands, stop gesture or grabby hands for each side. And then he comes with, for his left hand, a little two-finger, they call this the command hand, which is just, if he's doing a hand signal to move forward type of thing, or point at somebody. But that's what they call his command hand, with two fingers extended. And to swap out the hands, you just gently, you want to be gentle here, because this piece is right up against it, and then there's this thin, it's fairly thick and sturdy, but there is a little piece right here that could conceivably crack if you use too much force. So you want to kind of gently pull one hand off, And once they're on there, once you've used the hand a couple of times, it's not quite as difficult. And then plug, well, actually, that's the wrong hand. That's a right hand. We're on the left side. But let's put his command hand on. Just gently push it up. Helps you twist just a little bit onto the ball post there. And once that's on, the post itself is on. Well, I guess that wasn't on as well as I thought. The post itself moves back and forth in the hand. So you've got the ball joint right there where the hand attaches, and then the post that the ball joint is on can move back and forth a little bit there in the forearm. So there's his command hand to reach up and make a hand gesture. Or make a point, make it do a little Sailor Moon salute or something. But anyway, I'll go ahead and put. But you get the idea with the hands. I'm just going to go ahead. Like I said, his rifle is nice, nicely detailed. Looks like it's black plastic with a really nice wash brush of gunmetal all over it. For the review, let's go ahead and put his fists on. Just because they tend to not get in the way or distract. But you can easily pop his hands off and swap them out however you wish. His head takes two AG16 LR44, I believe is what common parlance battery is. Actually, I could tell you because I have a whole bunch of them right here. Yeah, LR44, A76, AG13 batteries in his head, and they're easily interchangeable. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. You just pull up his the top of his helmet here, and then inside there is the mechanism that comes out. You can see the LED glowing there. And then you just slide them in from the side with the, there's always that kind of ridge circle. The flat part facing up, and then that little ridge circle facing down toward the LED. And once that's in, you just push that. There's the little button that lights the LED on and off inside of his head. And then you just slide it right back in there. Make sure it slides all the way down and sits properly. The little button should be right above the blue plastic for his eyes. And then you just take his helmet, snap it right back on. And it does kind of snap into place. It's not just a loose fit. Right now I'm having trouble getting it to snap back on in the back. This should actually click into place here. That's all right. Oh, there's a little post there. Okay, well, there we go. Well, no. Well, we'll look into that in a minute. It should clip into place. Yeah, because his face is... I'm just missing something. There we go. Nope. There we go. Pfft. Yeah, when I'm not actually trying, it clips right into place. Anyway, on to the figure. Put his hands off to the side here. So it's super posable, super detailed. Again, now that his hands are down, give him a quick spin around here. Turn him around, show him off. Give you some of the details. Bring this down just a smidge so we can see a little bit more of him here in the frame. So his neck, his neck is the one piece of articulation I wish was a little bit more articulate. He can look up, he can look kind of down. Turning side to side, he's on a neck piece, and it can move side to side like this, but turning his head, he kind of gets caught here on the neck piece in some way, and I'm not sure exactly what's catching. But he doesn't have quite as much of ability, especially when you're going... Oh, pop this helmet off again. When you're trying to get him in like a hunched leaping pose, like his head can't look forward as much as I would like. You can't lift it up. I guess Superman-y pose. Granted, I'm not going to have him flying, but it just doesn't look up as much as I would like for some really neat action poses. But posability. So these little panels right here can lift up with his stacks to allow his arms to move up and out of the way. His arms can crunch forward like that, and they do recommend before you start swinging these around wildly, like if you're going to lift his arms up, to make sure to pull them out a little bit, because you can see this piece right here will kind of hit and scrape. It's got some clearance, but if you're just moving it around willy-nilly, it's very easy to scrape some paint. So you just want to kind of move them out just a little bit just to give it that clearance here. We have them bring those out. Obviously, they rotate there at the shoulder. There's a bicep swivel here with, again lots of nicely painted detail, mechanical detailing all over the arms. The arms can rotate. You can see it. You can see that piece move. It moves forward here at the elbow, and then there's a joint. This bicep, you'll see this piece rotate as he lifts his arm up to get a little bit more of a range of motion there. The wrist, like I said, are on a ball joint as well as a movable post inside there. The forearm swivels independently. He's got rocker. It's a side-to-side rocker here above the abs, but then the abs crunch like this, and then you can see even up there. And that's, and again, if you do it this, if you bend him over, and this is where I was talking about, if you have him hunched over for a leap, his head doesn't come up quite as much as I would prefer to look forward. But you want to be careful going back, because like here is his whole spine, and it actually, a lot of it is hidden. So you want to make sure when you bring it back, make sure it's not twisted or anything, because again, you don't want to risk scraping or scuffing or really doing some damage here when you bring it up. But you can see how that piece is, there it is all collapsed, a nice clean back. And then as you tilt forward, tilt the upper piece forward, it exposes this whole section right here. And then this piece, as it leans forward, exposes more of the section down here. It's a really nicely detailed, I can't believe I'm just showing like Optimus Prime doing an old man hunch, but some really fantastic detail all over this figure. Same thing goes with his legs. They say make sure to pull these out of the side. These little waist pieces here will flip up a little bit to get out of the way for when you're doing dramatic poses. That's just a little ball joint I popped off. But you can see there's a ball joint in here, a ball joint in there to allow these to move up and out of the way. And what's neat about this, and then the back flaps as well, they're not on as much of a, because there's not as much backward motion here that you're going to be doing, but they move out of the way a little bit as well. But then the legs, here at the hips, they kind of do an MP44 thing, because they do have a joint right at the hip to allow the leg to come forward. But there's also, you can kind of see coming off to the side of the blue piece here, there's a secondary hinge that allows the whole thing to rotate forward. You can kind of see how those are different there on the two sides, to really get the leg out from under the way and bring it forward in some range. And then the knee bends, and then the knee keeps bending all the way back. And this is where my only minor complaint, aside from the neck, about posability is that if you want to put him in a leaping pose, even when you move this ankle armor piece up here out of the way, the feet, they can move backwards fairly significantly. Like you can point the toe toward the shin, but leaning forward, you can't really point the toe very much. If you want like an action pose where his foot's pointing more away from his shin, that's about all you're going to get, even when you move this out of the way. I'm not even sure why this moves, because the foot never really comes in any danger of hitting it, unless there's some secret articulation that I'm just not missing. Like this piece right here can move up and down. This little armor around here, like I said, this piece can move out and out. He's got ankle tilt there in the ankle itself, but you can't really get that in much more of a pointed pose from the leg, which is a little disappointing, especially when there's so much other fantastic. You can see how this piece comes up, and this little tank right here comes up, is all a separate piece. I don't know if you see how that's geared. That folds up, and when you bend the knee, it comes up, and you can see it starting to expand here, and then it continues to rotate. Just some really fantastic detail here. And then there's a hinge there on top of the knee as well. And here you can see the groove where that secondary hinge comes up. And again, when you put it back, you just want to be careful moving it back. And then the hips can move out to the side as well. To a fairly significant degree, you can almost get them a full 180-degree split. Not 100, not exactly, but you can get a pretty decent range of motion out to the side as well. And that's the articulation on this guy. Like I said, the detail and the sculpt and the way you can move him is just really, really fantastic. I'll get all the pieces lined up again. These panels lift up and down. Out of the way here. If you want more action poses out of him, he does come with a stand similar to all the ones that all the rest have come with. That you can unlock and put at a different angle. Now with him, I have found that if you start getting a little too far forward with this, and this is about as far as it goes, he's heavy enough that he can start to pull this off balance. So do be careful with that. It helps to lock it a little straight up. And then the top part of this, hold on. You do have to pull this out to the side and change the angle on this if you want it. And then there's a little button right here that you push, you pull down, and that will help you. You can extend this out or down as well. As short or as tall as you want it. This works by, you just take, there's a piece right here in the middle of his waist. Right here, this little blue piece, this little gray piece right in the center, right at the base of his spine. You pop that out, and then the stand just plugs right in there into the back. And again, he's not quite sitting flat, so we'll change the angle on that a little bit. But, oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so I guess we're going to have to bring this down a little bit to get him to stand up. And that's just a little bit more security for something like this if you don't want it hanging off. It's very hard to get him to stay. You can't really get him in a pose that's going to keep his feet on the ground here with this stand. The best you can do here is get him hovering just a little bit. He's not quite all the way down here. You can see his feet are hovering. There's also a decent shot of his feet. I don't think I showed this off very well earlier. We can see the detail on his lower legs. Nope, his hip pieces are all wonky doodly. Wonky doodly do, neighbor. Anyway. So yeah, I don't think, and this looks like it may be all the way down here now. So I can't. It'd be nice if you could support him in a way that, oh, there we go. That's all the way down. Maybe you can get him to stand. No, even that at its best and lowest, his feet still hover just a smidge. I guess if you use those secondary hip joints, you can actually have his feet standing flat on the stand. It's entirely up to you. Like, he's sturdy enough that I don't know that you need the stand. It's really just a secondary security measure to keep him from toppling over. And then just real quick, let's go ahead and take him off the stand here so we can get as much of him as we can in the frame, because the stand does raise him up a little bit. Just to show off real quickly how he looks next to, here is the Voyager class Optimus. Let's pull this up just a little bit. There we go. Just to show you how those two look together. But yeah, just an excellent and fantastic. I think I squealed a little when I realized what was in the box that contained him, because this guy is just fantastic. I was excited about him. I was looking forward to him. I did not expect for one to show up, and yet here he is. And very nice, very happy to have gotten a chance to check this guy out. Here is the Bumblebee movie Deluxe Optimus Prime from ThreeZero.